shot for the poor people living in Darfur. The world gone deaf, the world gone blind, the world people sitting there on the behind. Nobody cared about the poor and needy. To be deserving up to the rich and the greedy. For every little resident, I am really sick on the shots and I was sitting. One more time, we got no more time. We gotta speed it out the way that we do don't combine. Like every corner will come tumbling down. The time of West Side cities around. You know what it's worth. Time to put up what's the worth. Who owns your mind? Who owns your mind? Look, but what owns my mind is trauma. By the experiences, by the stories we hear, and our success depend on the stories and the experiences that we had in the past. The only time you will see your experiences gives you value is when you detach the pain from that experience, and then you will see what gold mine you have. When we planned an escape as child soldiers, and this journey, we were told it's going to take us 1 month, but took us 3 months. So there was no water, so we started drinking our own urine. And what helped me as a kid, one of the things that helped me was imagination. Imagination, I discovered something about imagination. A thought coming to your head, a bad thought, and you stay with it in your brain, create the picture, and it terrifies you. Then I discovered the same thing in my head. A thought can come into my head, and I can go into a land that my mind has created and go on a journey and become happy. So I discovered something as a kid that I could hide myself somewhere and allow my imagination to be playful. And then I would imagine myself as a teacher, I would imagine myself as a doctor, I imagine myself as a pilot. My brain, I see the planes flying in the air, and I would fly myself in the air and see how it is. And so through that imagination, I was okay, I want to stay alive so I could meet my family. I want to stay alive so that I could be part of the solution one day. And that's how I was able to overcome the thought of me ending my life in that journey. In this moment, I remember standing still and my mind was dark. So I cocked my gun with my hand. It was too difficult because I didn't have strength, so I put it between my legs. And I cocked it with my foot and closed my eyes. It was very peaceful. I was not afraid to pull the trigger, and then I used my toe to pull the trigger. Now the bullet failed, but I stood still. I didn't know whether I was dead or alive until the pain of my foot that was pain started coming back. And as I was feeling that pain, there's a voice accompanying the pain. So the pain and there's a voice. They're coming together. And the voice saying, you're here for a reason. Then I picked that part and I said, I believe I've survived for a reason. And for that reason, I am going to stay alive.
Emmanuel, before we go further, I wanted to ask you, what made the difference for you? Because so many times people get out of a situation, but then they don't look back. They're so focused on survival, put one foot in front of the other. And understandably, there are a lot of refugees who survived, but you have kept looking back and said, let me do what I can to help others move forward. What made that difference for you to be aware of your role in that?
I mean, each and every person knows their purpose when you're a child. And your purpose is what gives you life and meaning in every stage of your suffering. It's what guides you. And so, knowing my purpose has been able to keep the temperature of my heart constant. A lot of people confuse between joy and happiness. Happiness is temporary because it's based on results that you have a number or you have a specific goal that is targeted. And if you achieve it, you're happy. And somebody else can trigger you and then you're sad. But the good thing about joy with your purpose, it's constant. It gets stronger and stronger, and you grow bigger. The more the pain you have, the more your joy occupies your heart. So sometimes when you get into the giving stage, then your joy doubles. And when you give without expecting anything in return, it gives you joy. And so how would you know your purpose? You know your purpose by the things that you do without expecting anything in return. I don't know if I answered your question.
I think it was beautiful, and I think it's so key because, I relate when you talk about the purpose being the thing that keeps you going. As someone who's struggled, with a hearing loss or has been in, used to have migraine seizures that would last a week at a time and in the dark coming up, and you're in that alone space. And most of us have had something in our lives where we were in that alone space where we really felt like you're in a dark vacuum and no one's going to hear you scream. We've all had those dark nights of the soul. And it's that purpose, because that light comes from inside you as opposed to outside of you, and it lights that way. And I think many people forget that because when you look for the light outside yourself, you can confuse that with so many things. Drugs, alcohol, addiction, so many, consumerism. But when you have it from inside you, you claim your power. And I know that's one of the songs that you also talk about, about power, but really from a place that I think is very authentic. And I think in today's culture, we so often conflate power as what you have, when so many times what you have is taking away your power. And you really got to the root of that in a way that I think a lot of people don't always hear. Could you explore that a little bit?
I mean, your purpose is the abundance in you. Now, when you walk in your purpose, you'll be in abundance. You're not going to walk in scarcity. Because the wealth you have in your heart is a lot. And how I can testify about this is the things that you imagine inside. How I discover how powerful purpose is was in one of my survival journeys. We were put in a boat that has 250 kids, and it capsized. Went upside down. Only 50 kids survived. And when we survived, we arrived in this place. The parents that found their kids were happy. Those who didn't find were crying. Nobody came for me. I was waiting for my dad, he didn't come. I was wishing my mom was alive. No one came. And in that process, here I am, I just survived. As a kid, I just wanted someone to give me a hug. Nobody was there to give me one. And so I slept hungry. Next day in the evening, I was still hungry. But at this time, I was just complaining about myself, what is happening to me. Nobody has come. So like when you're just in complaining state. And then the emptiness and the scarcityness just double. And the anxiety and the stress. And then those people that was eating, so there was a huge bone that was thrown on the ground. Then I said, look, I'm hungry. But let me just drop that bone. So as I tried to grab it, a dog grabbed we arrived at the same time at the bone. So now I had to fight with the dog. Now the dog was strong, took the bone. And so now I'm left there crying in tears about myself. Then I move and, when a kid is down, you just go move around, calm themselves. Then I saw an old man who laid his back into a metal scrap of an old boat, broken. And then I said, why is that old man alone? Where is his children? Why is that old man like that? And then in my culture, they say if you bless an old man, you're going to have infinite abundance. And I said, how can I bless this old said, but how do I catch a fish? Where do I find a hook? So I went around, found a wire, made a hook, and then eventually I caught a fish, and I gave it to the old man to eat. I cooked it for gave it to him. And the old man looked at me and said, young man, you will always have. Now what did I learn from here? When you're complaining and whining about yourself, your creative mind that can bring the abundance you shut. So when I found myself, I'm busy giving to this man, why was I not thinking about the fish for myself? Was it that I started becoming creative about this? So discovering the secret that purpose is about abundance. When you're giving, in the process of giving, you're adding value to somebody's life. How the universe say thank you to you is joy. But what you also can get as a reward is your knowledge. Because the process of me trying to help this person opened my mind to be creative. And then I had something with me as a kid that wherever I go, my mind has always been creative, even in the starvation. There's one child that was asked a question by other kids, and he said, like, how do I get my belly full? Every day he said, if you hang out with my mom, there'll be always food. There'll be food. Just go hang out with the whole day. And so because I figured out a way that I can be creative and find food. And if we open it to the world, the people who have made a huge impact are busy thinking about problems that they can solve for the others. When we are busy trying to think about ourselves, we begin to have a scarcity mindset. And I became a musician not because I want to be famous. I became a musician because I want to use it as a platform to speak. But to look 20 years ago, what has music done to me? It has taken me places. You know, I was eating 1 meal a day one time for Guafka, where we could build a school. That school educated 17,000 young people up to date. You know, and in the process of doing that, there's so much that I got. And in time, I got a skill. I became a musician. I got to travel the world. I got to be self-sustaining. I got to be paid just to speak about the work that I do. So, and all of that came from the purpose. So your purpose is all about giving without expectation. But your vision is about what you want to create to give the world and in return. So your purpose will take you through that journey.
Incredible. I really relate to when you talk about, and I think I want to hone in on this because a lot of people think that this is just kind of new age woo-woo, but there is such truth that when you are working, El Pro Paulo Coelho of The Alchemist, and you're going in the right direction, you know, the soul of the world rises up to meet you. In the course of your life, one of the things that I feel really exemplifies that the best is really what you have done with the Sudanese refugees, because we were privileged to help you with a small group, but you helped thousands, and you helped thousands by getting more and more people to come out and support you from all over the world. You know, what helped you feel that you could touch people and get them to care about people in an area of the world that they may have never even seen? Because I also know it's kind of fighting a tidal wave. People get obsessed with whatever's in the news, and the Sudanese refugees haven't been in the news the way they deserve to be. And you have almost been a one-man force driving attention to this need. You know, tell us about how you're able to harness your platform and direct it to the people that need a voice, and how you've risen to be that voice.
Well, there's one thing that I found really amazing. I was in Madrid the other day. There was a man who was carrying tomatoes, onions, fruits, oranges, and he had a trolley. Then he got triggered by somebody, and then he fell down. So when everything fell, the fruits, everything was flying on the street. And I was like probably 100 meters away. What I find was amazing is how, like, chasing tomatoes and oranges. There was a kid, two kids. One kid saw what was happening, continued holding her hands, her mom's hand. And I saw a whole group of people. I got some of the tomatoes I got and I went close to him to the carton. And all of us held this person. He was almost in tears. Now, what did I see from that? I always say, angels are all over. You have to find angels. And who are angels? These are people who believe in what you're doing before they even could see the results. Those are the angels.
And what made you decide to take on that role? Because I know so many times, doing the humanitarian work that we both do, you feel like you're flailing your arms around saying, can anyone notice these things over here? Somebody needs help. And, half the time people walk by. And you're right, some people do stop. But what do you feel made you stop?
Whatever it is I'll say, you have to listen to your calling. What is it? Are you called to care about cats or mosquitoes or frogs? Are you called to take photographs about telling stories? What is it that is in your heart? There's a difference between a thought in your head and a call. There's 90,000 thoughts that rolls in our head every day. Now, each and every thought is different. What are those thoughts that you are holding? If you're holding a thought of anxiety, a thought of negativity, a thought of thinking about other people, complaining, what is the thought that you're holding? One part I can put in this story. I've been one of those lucky kids that attract abundance. But abundance only comes to me when I'm in a free state, when I'm not worried, and I'm engaged. And I'll give for example, have you ever entered a place and there's a person that you're next to, you don't want to sit next to them because your body don't like them. You just don't want it. It's because the energetic field is releasing so many terrible things that don't work with you. So just imagine, what about if you go and meet somebody and that feeling that about you? So you have to think, okay, if I clean myself and my heart is vibrating at a high frequency, whatever I know, can my energy make this person comfortable? So when in this place that we survived, there was a long line of kids. So a lady came, and this lady came and talked to one of the soldiers and said, I only have food for one child. One child to feed them. And then she started from the beginning. In my head, I said, okay, that food, I'm going to be the one to eat that food. Because I want to survive this journey, that one day, I'm going to come and make an impact. But if there's another kid that can survive this journey, that can do a greater impact, God, please, may that child get that food. So that was what I was saying in my head. Energetically, I'm communicating with myself. I'm hungry like anybody else. So the woman passed by me, passed and went to the end, then came back and said, give me that child. So I was picked. Then she started praying. So I just said, just give me the food. Like, what is all this? 30 minutes was gone. So finally she gave me food. I put some in the pocket to go and share with the rest. But one thing I remember from this woman, she said, I passed every kid, but when I was next to you, I felt a different energy that I could not feel everywhere else. And that's why I came back for you.
I think this just happened the other night. This is a very recent story that really illustrates what you're talking about. And we were having dinner with our friends, and he happens to be the CEO and one of the co-founders of Lime, those green bikes you see everywhere. And we all were having this conversation. And Emmanuel shares this story, and I want you to share the story of the bike and what you did to have a bike. And then we'll share with them what you're going to end up doing with this guy from Lime.
So the story I shared is, I'm asked, what is your experience with bike as a kid?
Keep in mind, he didn't realize this guy was CEO of Lime at the time.
I was playing with a bike as a kid, and the bike fell on me, and the next thing the bombs were dropping around. Now, as everybody's screaming, I am burning on fire. I'm screaming. People think I'm screaming because of the war. When I became a child soldier, I had two things that I wanted to achieve. One, now there are actually three. One was to kill my trainer because he was merciless. But when we're trained, he was gone. So he wasn't around. And you're given guns without bullets. So those people always know. They know that one of these guys may not be happy because the trainers are so harsh. You're given, now you're soldiers, here's your gun, but there's no bullets. You're going to be given bullets in that area. Probably they all thought it. And so, and the next one was I wanted to kill as many Muslims and Arabs as possible. That was the desire. But I no longer feel like that. As a kid, that's what I wanted. The third was to get a bike. So I achieved my revenge. I got my bike. Now I want to leave. Now, the bike that I have, I did not know the enemy was looking at us from a distance with those things. So every time I jump on the bike and try to move, they drop the big weapons. And it falls, it misses me, drop, I leave the bike. If I leave the bike, they're not throwing the bomb. But if I try to take the bike, that's when they fire. So now what I decided to do, okay, fine, I started doing marks. So I know when they fire and how long it's the journey. So it's okay. 15 seconds, it's going to drop. So let me run for 9 seconds. So I get the bike, run, nice, so push the bike to the side and then jump to the other side, wait for the bomb to drop. Boom, then I pick it again, and then I finally get my bike. So now you go, like you decide, have you ever been, you decide you let the thing go, you go, and then you just remember, oh no, I left it. So you come back again. So it was so difficult for me to leave the bike.
So, in other words, he really wanted a bike. But the incredible thing is, at that dinner, he shares this with a man that he really doesn't know much, about. And the man turns out to be CEO of Lime, says, you know what, we give bikes away. And now they're going to be giving, how many bikes is it?
So 2,000 bikes.
Wow.
2,000 bikes. We're going to go to the refugees.
So what we're planning to do is, maybe I'm not supposed to announce it until it happens, is we create a system where these bikes can be given to young people to start businesses. And some of them will go to the refugee camps, some will go to the cities. But we're going to organize community bike charity. So they can give up to 10,000 bikes. So they will.
I mean, that really does encapsulate Emmanuel's story so beautifully. And before we go, I want to just invite all of you, please work with us with the Mimsy Institute and with WA Africa. What we're doing right now in Ethiopia is just the beginning. We're going to be continuing the work, and we'll be doing it through the Mimsy UK chapter. So this is a profound way to change lives, and working with Emmanuel Jal is an incredible experience. So please follow us, connect with any of us with Mimsy, and we are grateful for your being here. Thank you.